You can't do that, lads. You've let me down there. I expected all hands to go, yeah, you know. Anyway, okay, so based on that then, I'm going to get a big show of hands. How many people play less than 2 hours a week? Yeah, of course. And that's because of work, commitments, family, everything else.
So Joe, when you say practice and noodling, are you differentiating the two?
Oh yeah, let's forget noodling.
Right.
Noodling means you're getting it in while she's lipped to Morrison's. Right? Practice is when you go upstairs and you're going to say to your lovely wife, I don't care what you're doing, I'm going to practice for the next 2 hours, leave me if you want. And you go upstairs and you bury your head into your book, alright? Not many of us do that, no. I haven't got the guts to do that either, by the way, boys. Anyway, God bless her all. So yeah, practicing I'm talking about. So practicing is the only thing that I have not done, because I buried my head in tenor banjo for 3 years in a big way, right? And I started to get around Jerry O'Connor and Nenda Shahil and all these guys, and it was going really good, and it was going better than this ever was. And wow, I was getting a lot of work on it. And then I had the heart drop when I came out of hospital. Couldn't even hold the pick really. And I have no reason for that, and neither's my surgeons. But the heart damages more than itself when it has a heart attack. It screws your body badly. Don't ever go there. So I have been struggling with that, and then a month ago, was it maybe, I said to John, my friend here, it's going under the bed. And Old Red came back out. This was a tenor banjo up until 4 weeks ago. I put the neck back on it, and I'm back on the 5-string by 5 weeks now, maybe. And so I'm where you are with it, right? In my own way. And I have to learn, and after talking to Bill this morning, that that's what it's going to be. And if you've got a weak finger, just do the best you can do with it.
Can I ask a question, Joe?
Yeah.
The roles you did, you didn't mention the Scruggs role. So my question is, do you change roles sometimes within a song?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Could you talk about that, please?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's try and get the practice up a little bit, lads, shall we? Okay. So now, to answer this gentleman's question, how do we put something together that's going to make it a little bit more interesting than just wanking around with one roll? Excuse me, ladies, but you know what I mean. So it is something that's not in books, really. You get it on the tablature for a tune, but on most of the books, it doesn't say, right, let's just join this all together and make a passage up. I think Trishka's book, no, Wernig's book's the best for that. But anyway, so once again now we're going to play the same. Do you want to play something else?
Yeah.
They'll be honest. Yeah, we'll do it before I met you. Let's do a waltz. Shall we do a waltz? So I'm going to do a waltz where I can still use the square roll. This is just me showing you. I don't know what's going to come out. So I'm going to use the alternated thumb pattern, and I'm going to use a forward-backward roll. And if it's all right with you and you don't mind, I'll use a scale as well, right? Simply to fill in a D or a G to make it a bit different. So let's just get into it. Yeah. So there's a waltz timer, right? I thought I had seen pretty girls in my time. That was before I met you. No, wait, no. I thought I'd seen what I wanted for mine. That was before I met you. That one chorus just, I thought I was swinging the world by the tail. Thought I could never be blue. Thought I'd been loved and I thought I'd been kissed. That was before I met you. Alternating thumb. Let's change it now, and I'll do a forward-backward roll for the D7, right? Okay, let's see what I can do. Alternating roll. Forward-backward. Yeah? And a forward-backward. Scale. how do we do that? We've got to keep the measures going right, okay? Waltz is 3/4. It's very easy because here's the square roll. We've got to alter the timing to suit the waltz. Play it, Pete. Play it. Oh, it's clever, isn't it? It's just the same. Oh. Okay, so the square roll's just the same. Fits it lovely. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so to answer your question, that's what we can do. We can then use just the chords. We don't need to learn licks to play a solo. Did you know that? It's a basic thing to do, but as beginners, it's something that you've probably not even thought of. So let's see if we can make some sort of a breakout, just chordal playing. And I'm going to assume that we all know what the term inversion means, do we? Do we all know that one? Okay, yeah. What it means basically is we're going to use the same notation to play a G, but we're going to play it in another part of the neck using the same notes, but we've got to invert the strings to get them. And it's called a closed chord because we need all 4 strings to do that. So unlike a C chord down here, which is an open chord because the 3rd string is just open, up here it's all closed. Or here. So then we're going to get more than one inversion. We're going to get this G, which is the F inversion. They call it an F chord. Everybody know that one, yeah? And then the D inversion up here of the same G. So let's see what we can do. Thought I had seen pretty girls in Okay, let's try this. Right, now what can we do for you? Not great, but it's something different, isn't it? It certainly means that you're not going to enter into the second verse with the same boredom. Is everybody all right with me talking about all of this, yeah?
So just a question with that as well, because when you're doing the inversions, that's all great, but I find that I'm trying to hit melody and it kills the rolls.
Yes, okay, well there is no, that, yeah, you've got to get rid of that feeling. You've got to become a free-floating musician at that point, okay? In other words, just look at the beat that I was giving you earlier on with the thumb. And ignore any thoughts about, I thought I'd seen pretty girls in my time. You've got to get that out of your system totally. Right. And I'll give you a big example of that. That was before I met mine. It's a solo. It's miles away from it, it's coming out of there.
Right.
And that's what you've got to remember.
So you've got to just keep the chords going in your head while you're playing your fancy little licks while you're still rolling.
You can't do that. I'm showing you how to put simple solos together using the chords.
Right, okay.
And you're not using fancy little licks, you're just purely using the chord to create something different to the last passage that you've just played and make it sound like somewhat of a solo. Yes, sweetheart.
To accent it, to accentuate it, are you just literally just plucking the string with your...
There's no accent on that. That's just they're all even. They're all even.
They are?
Yeah.
It's just a string that sounds right, yeah.
It's a stop between each accent, between each chord. You may be feeling... But you're right, it's definitely there. It is definitely there, but though I'm not over accenting it with the thumb, it just exists because that's the next roll I'm playing, and there's a slight gap between them. So you're right, To answer your question now, you can just remember your thumb. Just look for some chords. can almost get that melody. Right. Can you hear it? Almost there, is it not?
It's funny. It's like the human brain puts it together.
It does. It does.
The notes are. The melody notes are within the chord.
Yes, they are.
Your brain
using a different inversion.
Connects it all.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So it's almost this again, but it's this actually instead of this. So now perhaps if I played both of them very quickly for you, you can see how when you're in the ensemble, like we were downstairs, you can make your life more interesting while you exist in it, because it's a great thing to go down there and play for an hour amongst friends and all of that. And it's a great thing for you to put your head down and think, this is my time, this is my neck, and I can move up and down it. That's what the exercise is about. We all know that it isn't Bella Flexlate's creation, but to us it is.
Yeah.
And that's where the beauty of all this lies. So let me bore Pete to death by singing it again. And I'll use both of these things so that you can see how the inversions on the banjo give it a different tonal quality as well. Ready, Pete? I thought I had seen pretty girls in my time. That was before I met you. Never seen one I wanted for mine. That was before I met you. I thought I was swinging the world by the tail. Thought I could never be blue. Thought I'd been loved and I thought I'd been kissed. That was before I met you. They tell me you must read just what you have told. Darling, I hope that ain't true. Once I had plans of living alone. That was before I met you. I thought I was swinging the world by the tail. Thought I could never be. I thought I'd been loved and I thought I'd been kissed. Yeah, that was before I met you. Now that's not difficult when you get into the practice room at home and think, I'm just going to do what Joe told me this week. I'm going to have an hour just doing that. Because you know what happens then? You can do it on anything. Cabin in the home. There's a cabin in the pines in the hills of Caroline, and a blue-eyed girl is waiting there for me. Someday she'll be my wife and we'll live a happy life in the cabin in the shadow of the pine. Oh, the cabin in the shadow of the pine, and a blue-eyed girl way down in Caroline. Someday she'll be my wife and we'll live a happy life in the cabin in the yeah, so it fits anything that you want it to fit.
Yeah.
But it won't do unless you discipline yourself to take it home and think, right, I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
So don't pay too much attention to the melody you're singing.
No, you don't need to, because you're not
That's
actually
what I've been doing.
If you're going to try and make a solo up,
Yeah.
then do that by all means. Get your tab paper out. I can show you how to do that now. Just use these first 5 frets.
Yeah.
You don't need to go any higher. If you go back and look on YouTube at the Earl Scruggs Lester Flats Martha White videos, the black and white ones, you'll see that when Earl comes forward to the microphone for his break, he's very rarely above the 5th fret. All of his breaks there. And if he goes higher, it'll be, which he used a lot, or this one. But that's all. Most of his but he was good at that's where he lived down there. But that's making up a solo, and to do that you need to try and go right, that's where you've got to build it from. And then you could perhaps that's a different discipline. Okay, so now we're making sense of it all. And we're making sense of the neck. Is everybody enjoying this, yeah?
Oh yes.
You say that's a different discipline, Joe. How is it different?
It's different because when we're playing chordal progression, we're playing chordal progression. And if we're lucky, there may be some aspects of the melody buried in that.
Yeah.
But when we're playing a break, it's a totally dedicated, I'm going to make it sound like the vocalist thing.
Ah, right.
So, yeah, and the best way for me to explain that is through melodic banjo.